Drew Brees is not bad at football, and Clay won a night. On my birthday, no less. It's rude. Lock It In starts right now. Hey, everybody. Looking good today. Welcome to Lock It In, the show that puts its money where its mouth is. I am your host, Rachel Bonnetta. I also look like a piece of candy corn. Is that what that's called? Joining me today and every day, first up, former Caesars odds maker Todd Fuhrman. Next up, host of Fox Sports Radio's Outkick the Coverage, Nashville's very own Clay Travis. And last but not least, he is an Emmy Award-winning writer and television personality who appears regularly on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Cousin Sal. Sal, you lost 2 of 3 last night. Not feeling very king-like of you.
Well, I still have the crown. I think that's all that really matters. Yeah, the Redskins didn't really show up yesterday, but it's a mere bag of shells compared to what we bet on Thursday.
But you lost your cape. Like, you lost your whole aura there.
Got the dry cleaner.
Because you sweat so much yesterday. All right. See that bar above me that tracks you guys' money and bets throughout the show? They started the week with 1,000. Much more on that later. But first, we're going to talk the biggest sports stories on planet Earth. We call this segment Handicap in the Headlines. Drew Brees passed Peyton Manning to become the NFL's all-time leader in yards, passing with a 62-yard touchdown to rookie Traquan Smith on Monday night. And Brees spoke about both the touchdown and the record-breaking after the game.
Didn't know it was going to happen on the first play to Traquan, but I don't think it could have happened in any better fashion than it did. And to have then that moment with my teammates on the field, the offensive line, I mean, it played out even greater than I ever could have imagined.
I ugly cried last night, by the way, because of that. Todd, how should you bet on New Orleans after their big win last night?
It's funny, Rachel. We were all panicking with New Orleans when they lost their season opener to Tampa, but everything appears right in the Crescent City. This team heads into the bye with a 4-1 record, but odds makers are going to make you pay a premium to back New Orleans going forward. You look at their upcoming schedule when they come back from bye, 3 of their next 4 games on the road. The combined record of their next 4 opponents, 14-5, their lone home game against the Rams. So we're going to learn a lot more about the Saints during this stretch. What I did like is their defense is starting to show improvement. You do want to keep an eye on the status of Marshawn Lattimore, who left because of the concussion during last night's game. But this offense is electric. It's only going to get better with a healthy Mark Ingram there.
Okay.
Well, how fixed was that record-breaking pass to Traquan Smith? There was no one within Baton Rouge of covering him. I had to hit my guide to make sure I wasn't watching Monday Night Raw last night. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Like Todd points out, they've righted the ship. They lost to Tampa Bay, which seems ridiculous right now. They struggle with the Browns. 3 impressive wins after that. And 78% completion rate for Drew Brees. That's unbeatable. And at plus 150 to win the NFC South or around there, that's a nice deal going into the bye.
In addition to the fact that he made the touchdown pass and they just decided not to cover him, it felt like when Michael Strahan got the all-time sack
I was
record
thinking of this
Brett
morning.
Favre just took a dive. I don't even know what was going on there. How about the fact that they gave him a laminated greatest passer of all time, like NFL certificate, as if he had just won, like, the school science fair in 8th grade. I mean, it was
just
unbelievable.
because you've not won anything in your life, you don't have to harp on people that have won.
I've gotten a lot of gift certificates like that in my life. That's an honorable mention move. You don't even get the ribbon. You don't get the blue first place ribbon, the red second, or like the white kind of third place ribbon. You get the gift certificate. The other thing was the guy in the gloves taking the football there. I think, there you go. I haven't even gotten a crown. I've never won anything. So as a result, I don't really think you can bet on the Saints here. I think the NFC South is the best division in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL. You've got Cam Newton, who's won an MVP. You got Matt Ryan, who's won an MVP. And I assume Drew Brees at some point has won the MVP. He certainly won the Super Bowl, and he's the all-time passing leader. And then you got Jameis Winston, who's no good. But the other 3 guys are really good. So I would look for some value outside of the Saints right now, who I think are probably overvalued. Maybe with the Panthers, maybe with, believe it or not, the Falcons, who are not dead yet. If they can beat the Bucs this weekend, maybe they can start to climb back from out of the grave.
They're not dead yet. All right, moving on. The Cowboys welcoming Jacksonville to Dallas this Sunday. The big story of the season for the Cowboys, the struggling offense. The struggling everything, really. Owner Jerry Jones was asked if something drastic needed to happen with the offense, and here was his probably great response.
The decision-making area is not one that you can go out even if you wanted to and remake your team personnel-wise. Football is definitely reassessing almost every day. and adjusting because you have injury situations that you got to deal with continually, and you have to adjust. It is not the same, almost the same year or the same time frame from the day you went to training camp, from the time that if you're in the playoffs, you get a chance to be a team.
I would love to have Jerry Jones record my voicemail message. Like, hey there, you've reached Rachel, leave a message. Dallas is a 3-point home underdog this weekend against Jacksonville. Sal, is Dallas a smart play here? I know you're hurting about them.
Yeah, I'm starting to get used to that Jerry Jones hologram. It's so realistic.
Really? Yeah, wow.
No, they're not a smart play, and they're never a smart play so long as they have a coach who calls timeouts for no reasons, makes challenges for no reasons, and doesn't put his offense on the field on 4th and 1 at the opponent's 42 in overtime. That is not a smart bet. And add to it that Sean Lee is probably not going to play this week. They're 2-8 against without him in 10 games, even though the defense has been playing well. And the Cowboys are 3-10 against the spread versus winning teams. This is at best a stay away, and I wish Jason Garrett would stay far away.
If only.
I think the challenge here in general is trying to figure out what you're going to get from the quarterback position on either team.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott has gotten progressively worse in all 3 seasons he's been the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And look at this difference for Blake Bortles in terms of when he's played well, the Jags have won. When he's played poorly, they have lost. Now, the passing yards per game is a little bit of a outlier there because when they get behind, he tends to throw it for a lot more. Look at the passer rating. Look at the TD and interception ratio. Right now, Blake Bortles leads the NFL. He's tied anyway for most turnovers, and he's got 8 of them. And frankly, I don't feel comfortable betting on him on the road against the Cowboys. I also don't feel comfortable betting on Dak. To me, the play beyond a shadow of a doubt here is the under. I don't think either one of these teams is going to score very much.
Sal, color me confused. Are you shocked as I am that Clay mentions the Jaguars win when Blake Bortles plays well? I've never heard that in the NFL. When a quarterback plays well, it's easier to win games.
Color me confused.
Usually the center. I know. It's weird.
Well, you guys talk about this game and some of the question marks we have on both these teams. Quarterback play, obviously, going to be one of the big ones. But the one common denominator is both of these teams are extremely talented on the defensive side of the ball. And you look at Jacksonville, they've been on the road twice so far this season. They haven't scored more than 20 points in a game. They needed to slip by the Giants 20-15, and then they've mustered a grand total of 14 points against the much-maligned Kansas City Chiefs defense. Anytime you're giving me a good defense at home catching points, playing with a chip on their shoulder, I actually think Dallas's defense can create some problems for Bortles. My bigger concern is offensively for Dallas because Jacksonville can stack the box. That secondary is going to have an absolute field day in man coverage against Dallas's cast of receivers. I actually agree with Clay here. I think this game goes under the total, but at 3, I could see a little bit of an appetite for the home under.
By the way, that number's moved. We were talking about this morning. It started at 41.5. It's gone down to 40, so maybe that is the right play.
The Cowboys are getting 40? I might be on it.
The total, you jerk. All right, moving on. The undefeated Chiefs and quarterback Patrick Mahomes are staring down a huge Sunday night matchup with the Patriots later this week. It's going to be a good game. When asked what Mahomes does well, New England head coach fell asleep. Bill Belichick had some high praise for the first-year starter. Listen to this.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Gets the ball to all of his receivers, quick release, sees things quickly, can extend plays, got a great arm, got a fabulous arm. Throw the ball out of the stadium. So makes good decisions, accurate, get the ball out on time.
He's a poetic man. The Chiefs are currently a 3.5-point underdog against the Patriots. Clay, do you like Kansas City here?
I do, I think, like Kansas City. I like that you're getting the hook a little bit with the plus 3.5. I also like, and this may be crazy, I like the fact that nobody's expecting the Chiefs to actually win this game. I think all of the conversation this week, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it all week, will be about how this is an opportunity for New England to establish that they are back, right? They've won 2 games in a row. They were dominant over the Dolphins at home. They were dominant last week in an easy win. And I think they're going to be dominant again, personally, in this game. In the back of my mind, though, I'm also thinking I love the Chiefs in this situation. We know the Chiefs went in last year and won in Foxborough on that opening Thursday night game. We know it wasn't with Mahomes at quarterback. Alex Smith was playing that game, but now they're a lot better at quarterback. I think this team believes they can win, and I think the storylines, guys, are much better for both a gambling and an overall NFL perspective. If the Chiefs go in and win and go to 6-0 and drop the Patriots to 3-3, I think that's a lot more fun to talk about than the Patriots coming back at 4-2, doing what they always do, getting better as the season progresses. I think the storyline a lot more interesting if the Chiefs win. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus 3.5 in this game.
I mean, there are a lot of fun storylines, but the strongest one is Belichick ready to be embarrassed again in prime time. He lost to Matt Patricia against the Lions on a Sunday night. Remember, the Chiefs went into Foxborough and won on the first Thursday night last year. I loved what I saw out of Mahomes, even though he didn't have his best game. He had 2 interceptions, 313 yards, and they still blew out the Jags. And they are undefeated against the spread, but I think this is a good spot for Vegas, making it 3.5. Patriots are 16-6 against the spread against teams with winning record, and I think that just goes up. And I'm interested to hear what Furman has to say in terms of what's going to happen to this line going forward. I'm just kidding. I'm not interested.
I was like, Sal?
I thought Sal was going to give me the perfect opportunity, but when you look at the early betting trends in this game, guys, I think it's telling that we've seen New England open a field goal favorite, move to 3.5, despite a little bit of public support for Kansas City. The public has become enamored with the Chiefs. I mean, they're covering it every single turn and doing it with gaudy offensive numbers. But Tom Brady coming out and speaking out against Patrick Mahomes, saying it's much easier to be a starting quarterback in this league as a rookie now, leads me to believe he's awfully confident about the matchup he's going to have with his talented trio of receivers with Gronkowski, Josh Gordon, and Julian Edelman all back in the fold. Also throw into the equation this Kansas City defense, which is one of the league's best on third downs, could be down. Well, they are down Justin Houston, one of their leaders in sacks. Dee Ford dealing with a groin injury. And when you talk about a trio that has 11 sacks between them, if you can't put pressure on Tom Brady, it's going to open up play-action passing. Sony Michel is going to have a field day running against the interior of this Chiefs defense. And I think for the first time all season, you could see Kansas City start to stress a little bit, playing against a dynamic offense that can score as quickly and as many different ways as they've been able to do.
Building on that, I think there's points to be scored here a lot. You could also play the over. We also did some research here for you because we have a gambling show that does research occasionally and looked back in the last 5 years at what happens when the Patriots with Brady are not actually favored by that much. And the data, when you look at these games, It makes me a lot more nervous about my Chiefs pick. Not just that New England's covering, it's that they are blowing out the opponent and when we expect it to be a close game.
You didn't do the research.
Yeah, no chance.
Stop lying. The guy named Adam Lee,
the Royal Lee.
Like 9 p.m.
Give Adam his props for making all of us look.
You don't do any work. All right, moving on. In the NFC East, the Washington Redskins somehow still sit atop the division with a 2-2 record. The odds-on favorite to win the division is still the Eagles. Play as the Eagles prepare to take on the Giants Thursday night on Fox. Do you still like the Eagles as the favorites come out of the division?
I don't. I think there's a lot of value on other teams in this division. The NFC East so far has been the worst division overall in terms of records. You're looking at the division standings right now. Washington had a chance to make a statement last night. They got boat raced by the Saints. I think there's value on the Redskins. I think, believe it or not, there's value on the Dallas Cowboys. I may even think there's some value on the Giants. I'm not sold that the Eagles are the best team in this division, especially when you look at their schedule going forward. Again, I know Sal's been talking about this all year. I think there's a good chance this is an 8-8 or 9-7 wins the division, the worst in the NFL in my mind in terms of the overall record, which means it's hard to eliminate anyone. I like the value on everybody else, given how prohibitive right now the Eagles are favored in the odds market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that would be very, very bad for me. I have a gigantic bet on that every division winner will have at least 8.5 wins, and like the Redskins could win this at 6-10. But I don't know. You know, they say like Jai is out. He was feast or famine anyway. He midseason replacement last year. He had 2 touchdowns all year, and then 3 in the first 2 games, and then nothing. I don't know that he affects it much. I know Wendell Smallwood is not the answer. If these talks keep up with LaShawn McCoy coming to Philly, then it's a different story. But the Eagles at -110 to win the division is not a good price. I would just stay away and pray that somebody somehow picks up 9 wins. Maybe they'll play 20 games and I'll get 9 wins somehow.
Crazy to think about Philadelphia. You hate to say it, almost a must-win situation on Thursday night when they go to take on the Giants. All of a sudden, we could be talking about both of these teams with identical records. When we wrote the Giants off for dead, we kept waiting for Philadelphia to regain some of that Super Bowl form. But when you mention the schedules, I think that is the ultimate determinant for how this division is going to play out. And things shape up quite favorably for the Washington Redskins. You have to imagine they're going to bounce back with a chip on their shoulder as soon as this weekend against Carolina, where they've already been bet from pick 'em out to a modest 1-point favorite. There'll be slight favorites at home against the Dallas Cowboys, and then maybe an elimination game for the Giants, depending on how things break when Washington goes on the road. But I think the Redskins, they weren't as good as the team that dominated Green Bay a few weeks ago. They weren't as bad as the team we saw get decimated and destroyed last night by the Saints. Washington probably offers the most compelling value at a price less than 3-1. I'm just not sure I'm ready to buy into the Eagles. I want to see that Super Bowl defining performance from them, and we haven't seen it just yet.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing a lot of rumors about Le'Veon Bell replacing Jay Ajayi. How does that change things?
You made that up.
I did, yeah.
Cut it out.
Moving on, it got ugly in the Bronx last night as the Red Sox beat the Yankees 16-1 to take a 2-1 series lead in the ALDS. The Yankees will send CC Sabathia to the mound tonight to try and push the series to a Game 5. Todd, are you surprised? The Yankees are favored tonight after last night. Oy.
Not surprised, but that'll teach Aaron Judge to walk out of Fenway playing New York next time.
I love that, though.
16-run outburst. It's okay to have swagger in this rivalry. Wait till the series is over, though, before you take it that extra mile. CeCe's been outstanding as a member of the Yankees. When you look at how he's performed in elimination-type scenarios, an undefeated record in the ALDS. Unfortunately for CeCe, he's going to have an extremely short leash, and we can only hope he gets more than an 8-minute warm-up compared to Luis Severino and what he had in Game 3 against these same Red Sox. When you go down the Red Sox order as well, Mookie Betts, good career numbers against CeCe. Aside from that, the two biggest hitters that he's going to have to worry about, Steve Pearce with 3 career home runs, Sandy León and Eduardo Nunez. That should leave Yankee fans, myself included, a little more confident in this spot, but this is going to be all hands on deck. I think the Yankees find a way to scratch out a victory here and send the series back to Boston for Game 5.
Yeah, I agree. CeCe's the one you want on the hill, and there's no such thing as a lock in an October baseball game or any baseball game for that matter, but the Yankees are 19-3 in their last 22 home games after a home loss. That's pretty spectacular. I don't think those bats go to sleep 2 days in a row. If I had to bet this, I would bet the Yankees, and here's something even better. The Yankees are 11-1 to win the World Series right now.
Wow.
And right now, too.
What?
Like, I can keep waiting like 5 seconds. It'll still be 11-1. I don't know if you'll get those odds for the next 3 years on the Yankees to win the World Series.
What's wild to me about this series is I feel, first of all, like it's going to go 5. Sometimes you watch a series and you just get that vibe, even though there's been a blowout in the most recent game. I feel like the Yankees are going to come back, win Game 4, and force it to Fenway for Game 5. But the odds in this series have been wild in terms of after every game they have irrationally swung, I think. This maybe happens more often in a 5-game series than anything else. But look at the entering series odds. Look after Game 1 that the Red Sox win. It's like, oh, it's a foregone conclusion. The Red Sox have got this. The Yankees win Game 2, and it swings back completely the other direction. Game 3 now, with the Red Sox now just up 2-1, right? Winning 2 games in a row in baseball is not irrational in any stretch of the imagination. It happens all the time during a 162-game season. And now you can get the Yankees at plus 325 to come back and win at Game 4 at home and then win Game 5. I love just looking at this futures market. I feel like it's going to go 5, and baseball is going to be ecstatic about that, having on Thursday night a competition for the NFL on Fox to have the Yankees against the Red Sox.
Isn't October just the best? We get playoff baseball. We get my birthday week. I've extended my birthday to a week, guys. I don't know if anyone...
Actually, I'm the king, and I now declare your birthday is late July, so we don't have to hear about it.
Whatever. All right, guys, good stuff. When we come back to Lock It In, 9 bets, 3 men who desperately vie for my attention daily. It's pathetic, really. And only 1 minute.